I think on the value chains, let me start with sorghum. So sorghum, we are supporting farmers right from research, getting the right varieties that will stand the shocks of climate change. And therefore, from an investment perspective, as EABL, we are really investing with farmers. We are growing more than we need. So if you look at our farmers, they grow more than we consume, because sorghum is also used as a food crop for people. So I would say, even if competition is coming, there is enough barley, there is enough sorghum out there for all of us. And I don't think our farmers have reached the ultimate or optimum sort of productivity of all these brands or products. We are very competitive, and I think we've even shown in previous years when there's been an overproduction, for example, of sorghum, we've gone and bought everything just to safeguard the farmer. So our history speaks for itself. I can't talk for the other people.
All three business units are performing exceptionally well: Kenya, Uganda and Tanzania. And then whether it's beer or spirits, which we break down into 8 segments, all 8 segments are in growth. So we're delighted with the holistic nature of the performance. And Kenya at +8 is particularly satisfying given the excise increases hurt our beer business this year. Tanzania at +19 is really encouraging, given this is now the 3rd year of very significant growth for that business. And the Tanzania growth is not just characterised by Serengeti anymore. Guinness in over 40% growth, Pilsner in 14% growth, and the mainstream spirits business is starting to move very fast as well. And then Uganda have weathered a sachet ban and yet have still grown by 10%. They've done some brilliant work on the portfolio, so flanked Bell with Pilsner at a different price point, so 2,500 shillings versus 3,000 shillings, a different liquid, and therefore that business has been largely incremental to the overall beer performance in Uganda. The operating environment has been pretty stable over the last 6 months. We have got 3 elections coming up in the next 3 years. We've got Tanzania in 2020, Uganda in 21 and Kenya in 22. We've also got locusts in the north. We've got uncharacteristic rainstorms in January here in Kenya and across the region. So whilst it's been stable, there have been headwinds. I guess the one area that I'm disappointed in is our bottled beer performance in Kenya. There's pockets of brilliance, and so Tusker Light has done really well, particularly engaging the younger adult consumer. Whitecap is on fire, doing very well in high double-digit growth. But overall, the Kenyan bottled beer business is at -1 at the half, and that's 100% to do with the price increase that we passed on to consumers as a result of the excise increase this year. I mean, we're very fortunate to have a very progressive relationship and an adult conversation live with government all of the time. We do think there's some tweaking to the excise strategy from government that could liberate better volumes for ourselves and therefore excise off a higher volume for government. And I guess when you look at excise in Kenya, and by the way, we are the 2nd largest contributor to the exchequer in the country. We're very proud of that. We're nearly 1% of GDP. We're 5% of any in-year Kenyan budget. We've been here nearly 100 years, and we're very proud of the economic and social contribution we make to Kenya, and long may that live. So this isn't about a moan about the excise that we pay. But when I look at it clinically, as the regional head of the business, we're over 400% higher taxes than Tanzania, over 300% higher excise taxes than Uganda, which makes us an outlier. It makes us susceptible to cross-border product coming in. But most importantly, putting excise up every single year is just out of reach for Kenyans. In an environment where we're growing GDP at sort of mid-5s, 6%, which is great, every 12 months is too much for Kenyans. Our elasticities would suggest that if we moved excise up every 2nd year, that Kenyans would be able to afford to continue to buy Kenyan formal product, and the increase in excise would be compensated for by the increased volumes we'd be able to provide excise charges against for government.